diving deeper into the book, Dear Lady Elect. And welcome. My name is Angela Tarr. I have Deb Ogden with me and Judy Seligman. And we're going to dive in deeper to the 3rd October letter. And Deb will kick us off reading.
Okay, here we go. Instead of keeping a record book against my husband of all the pains he caused me, I had to look at Christ and know that the ledger was cleared for him. There was no debt on my husband's account because Christ's death paid for it. I can't tell you how important it is to forgive. There cannot be any healing, restoration, salvation, or deliverance if unforgiveness is present in your relationships. If you have hurts that cause you to hold on to unforgiveness, do not allow them to be buried. Deal with them today. If you can't forgive, go to God and confess your unforgiveness. Christ has accomplished everything needed to empower you to forgive. Be open to God.
Well, last time we met, we talked about God not keeping a record book of our sins because Christ died for them all. Mm-hmm. Awesome, isn't it? That He remembers our sins no more. And then He commands us in 1 Corinthians 13:5 that we don't keep an account of sins done against us. And that's actually a book, in the original language, that's a bookkeeping term. Mm-hmm. As if you had a ledger and you're writing down, okay, he did this, he owes me this. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, he has to pay for this sin. So you're writing down, you have a record, and we do this though in our mind. Mm-hmm. We have a record, and we want the scales of justice to be satisfied.
Yeah.
Right.
And if they're not satisfied, we're not balanced. You meet anyone that's really not balanced, usually there's something in their life that the scales aren't balanced. We're made to the image of God, and God's perfectly just. Mm-hmm. So when injustices happen, something rises up in us, mm-hmm. and we need justice satisfied.
Right.
And the only way that justice will be satisfied in anyone's life is through the cross of Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Somebody sins, Jesus pays for the sin, scales are balanced.
Right, and he didn't just pay a little bit, or just go halfway, and he'll finish the rest later.
Yeah.
It's complete.
That's it.
It's done. It's finished.
Yes. And that's I want to tell you, it's the only reason why you forgive. It's not because of your love for the other person. It may come to that, but the main reason is our love for Jesus Christ, that it inspires us to forgive. Mm-hmm. Because he already paid the price for it. He died for that sin, mm-hmm. so it could be forgiven. And our forgiving somebody actually empowers them to be freed from that sin. We get freed. You know, if somebody does something to you, how you feel, you're not free. You're right. Like, you have to tell somebody.
Well, resentment.
Yeah.
Resentment.
So they're trapped in a sin and you're trapped in your own.
I feel like I'll take it one further. Once I started kind of going through your lessons and this book and applying them, I could feel myself being more forgiving. Oh, that shouldn't have happened to me. I forgive you. The spin I'm going to add is that I feel like it was a whole other ball game when it's other people close to me. So if I have people with me and they're treated rudely based on knowing me, oh my goodness, that would get under my skin. That would get under my skin because I felt some kind of protection or responsibility for them.
It's like if someone touches your kid.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, but it could be like anyone. Yes. I just know that's something that I still struggled with, mm-hmm. and even that's forgiven. But I don't know, I felt a responsibility. Like, you can drag me through the mud, I'll forgive you. That's where I kind of got to. But, touch my kid. And it's a completely different ball game.
Yeah.
So,
but the forgiveness for both is based on the cross.
So those are, I think I mentioned last week, and just going to God when you can't. I know those are some of the situations that I'm like, just talking to him, saying it's still bothering me. Why is it bothering me? Christ paid for this. and he takes care of it.
Well, even you're going to him like that, you're confessing your unforgiveness, like
Right.
the book says. If you don't ever say, "Oh God, forgive me, I'm unforgiving,"
Yeah.
but you can say, "Hey, God, I'm hanging on to this and I don't like it."
That's
That's the same thing.
That's the same thing. Just
it's
say-
confessing. You're being honest with God.
Yeah.
And I know I bring this up often, but it's usually because somebody has not met our expectations.
Absolutely. And I need you to bring it up as often because that's the one you can always drive it back to. Your expectation.
Yeah.
And what's that? We all have them.
And God's expectation of us is to forgive.
Because he did it all. We're only asked to do one thing. He paid for the sin. He took care of the sin. Just we believe. Do you have faith to believe enough to believe that Jesus died for somebody else's sin? In John, Jesus said to the apostles, "Whose sins you shall forgive, they will be forgiven.
them. Yes.
Whose sins you shall retain, they are retained." So we actually have the power to hold someone bound to their sin or release the grace from Calvary into their life by forgiving them.
Yeah, that's the part I highlighted that we just read. There can't be any healing, restoration, salvation, or deliverance. So if we expect people to get better and you're constantly in that, I don't know, that I almost want to say like environment or hostility of this unforgiveness, like you can't grow from there.
No, you're stuck and they're stuck. They're
Well-
not going to get free and you're not free.
And I like how you say don't allow them to be buried. Take care of it right away. We often talk about don't let there be air between you and the other person
That's what I was trying
that
to
you're
say.
in conflict with. So deal with it.
If you don't forgive someone's sin and they hurt you, the pain gets buried. And you forget about it.
I feel like until.
Something similar happens again. And it stirs up that, and then there's that thing. I mean, there's things from people's childhood.
Oh,
People
yeah.
that have been hurt and abused and had people they trusted hurt them.
And it could be very odd little nuances that you know nothing about. I can't remember where I read it, but when we're passing judgment or even the unforgiveness, God's the only one that knows the whole story. So we're missing a piece of the picture, of some information. We don't have the information. We only have the snippet that, oh, we're so offended. And then you remember that's really acting out of uncontrolled fear. I mean, that's where the grace and mercy really comes in. And how can we not forgive them? Like, we don't know their entire life. There's a lot of trauma with everyone.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, maybe they were treated you a certain way because they were treated a certain way. And if you don't forgive them, it's in you, and there's a chance that you'll carry that pattern into the future and not even being unaware of it. So it's time to break the bonds today. Look at the cross. Look at Jesus paying for the sins of the world, yours and everyone that ever hurt you.
Yeah.
And then just forgive.
And forgiveness actually breaks the cycle.
It does.
And you can
Okay.
start all over again. Start
Gives
fresh.
yourself, someone else. It's exciting.
It is. It is.
I mean, I love what Christ did for us because He knew what man needed more than anyone else.
And I think about how often, we talk about fixing things. And if we go
Or
to a
not.
place of wanting to fix the relationship, we can't fix anything. There has to be forgiveness. And the Lord works everything out from there.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
There you go.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us this week. Next week, we actually finish the letter. So hope to see you back. Thank you again, and have a great week. Bye.
Bye.